All right, everybody, I'm Logan Alec. This is my stimulus update for Monday, June 8th. Something will happen tomorrow that I believe will deeply impact what the next relief bill will look like. What am I referring to? Tomorrow, the United States Senate Finance Committee will be holding a hearing examining the role of unemployment benefits during the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically those benefits that were instituted by the CARES Act. Just to catch you up, the CARES Act instituted several unemployment benefits through July 31st. The capstone of these unemployment benefits is a $600 FPUC. That's an extra $600 a week to those who are already receiving unemployment benefits through their state. Okay? Democrats in the HEROES Act that was passed by the House want to extend those benefits into next year. Republicans are not so thrilled by the idea, though some Republicans have expressed openness to some form of modified FPUC, some form of reduced federally funded weekly unemployment benefits after July 31st, whether that's $250 a month or for $250 a week or $450 a week. They're still kind of working out those details. But tomorrow, the Senate Finance Committee is holding a hearing examining the role of unemployment. They're going to hear from the Department of Labor and other small business, large business unemployment experts on the role of unemployment during the pandemic. The goal of the hearing, of course, is to inform the Senate, right, on what the next relief bill should look like in terms of unemployment. Right? So based on the testimony of what these individuals are saying tomorrow, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to read all their names, you know, people when they speak in the Senate, right, about what the next round of relief should look like in terms of unemployment, they'll say, well, the Secretary of Labor said in the hearing that this, and she said that, and he said that. It will inform the Senate's opinions. At least that's the purpose of it. Okay? Now, obviously the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee is a Republican. His name is Chuck Grassley. Here's what he has to say about unemployment. Unemployment insurance is meant to help Americans who lose their job until they can get back on their feet and return to work. Democrats' proposal, the HEROES Act, extending the $600 FPUC weekly, would turn that upside down and encourage unemployment, government dependence, and reduced productivity. That's unhealthy for the economy, and it's unhealthy for the individual. As we begin to safely reopen our economy, it should be the goal of Congress to get America back to work while helping those who can't in a more targeted and efficient way. Let's take a break right there and now talk about stimulus checks. Okay, we're going to come back to unemployment. Chuck Grassley said, a more targeted and efficient way, helping those who can't get back to work in a more targeted and efficient way. That kind of gives me a clue that maybe this particular very powerful Republican, who's the chair of the Senate Finance Committee, wouldn't be too open to another round of blanket stimulus checks, because that doesn't sound very targeted or efficient, right? That's just sending money to everybody, or almost everybody. Now, it is still my suspicion that the decision that Republicans come to when it comes to unemployment, they'll be looking primarily to data. I believe those decisions will be data-driven decisions. With respect to another stimulus check, I believe that the Republican mindset on it will be less data-driven and more politics-driven. But we'll have to see. That's just my speculation, okay? What did the ranking member on the Senate Finance Committee say? So the chairman is, or chairwoman of a committee is from the majority party, okay, and the Senate, the majority party is Republicans. The ranking member on a committee is the most senior member from the minority party, okay? So in the Senate, the minority party is the Democrats. This individual, Ron Wyden, senator from Oregon, is the ranking member on the Senate Finance Committee. He's a Democrat. He said that the Congressional Budget Office notes that the $600 boost to benefits has been vital in maintaining consumer demand. Workers who are unemployed through no fault of their own are still able to pay the rent and buy groceries, which is propping up the economy. CBO also notes that fear of getting sick has an effect on the labor market, reiterating that crushing the virus is key to reviving the economy, even if millions of Americans go back to work. If millions of Americans who remain unemployed are suddenly unable to pay their bills, the economy will get worse, not better. Supercharged unemployment benefits must continue, and Democrats must insist on triggers that tie unemployment benefits to economic conditions on the ground to prevent future economic sabotage. So he's saying, look, these supercharged unemployment benefits, they need to continue, right? Because, yeah, millions will go back to work, but millions won't. Okay, we don't want the economy to crumble because these people can't afford to pay the rent or even buy food for themselves, right? So he's saying these supercharged benefits should continue. That's what the Democrats called for in the HEROES Act. He also said that unemployment benefits should be tied to economic conditions, okay? We know that some senators have proposed, okay, we're going to look on a state-by-state basis, look how the unemployment is doing in that state, and tie the amount of federally funded unemployment benefits there to that calculation. Maybe that's too complicated, right? Maybe that will bring up questions of fairness, but these are just ideas that have been thrown around, all right? What has Nancy Pelosi been doing lately, right? Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats passed the HEROES Act, okay, last month. In Nancy Pelosi's mind, she's done her part with respect to the next relief bill through the HEROES Act, right, even though that thing has no chance of passing the Senate, okay? Well, what has Pelosi been up to recently? Well, today, and maybe by the time this comes after it's edited and it's published on YouTube, this will have already happened, okay? But today, Nancy Pelosi said that the House Democrats and the Senate Democrats will be unveiling the Justice in Policing Act of 2020, okay? So what would this do? Well, the goal of the act would be nationwide police reform. I haven't seen the bill yet, okay, but the New York Times apparently got a copy of a draft outline. I'll put a link in the description if you want to read more about that. But one thing it would do is it says the federal police misconduct statute currently makes it a crime for an officer to willfully violate an individual's constitutional rights, meaning prosecutors must prove an officer acted with the intention of depriving the person of their rights. Democrats plan to propose lowering that standard of criminal intent to knowingly or with reckless disregard. The change is likely to face opposition from police unions and their allies. All right. So apparently now the statute to convict an officer is that they must willfully violate an individual's constitutional rights. But there you have to prove this intent, right? Which is harder to prove than merely showing that they acted with reckless disregard for an individual's constitutional rights. Okay. I'm not a police scholar or legal scholar or anything like that. I can't tell you exactly what the differences are. I just wanted to tell you this is what many Democrats in Congress have been working on right now, this police reform bill, especially in light of the protests that have gone on recently, okay? Orange County, Florida, I've told you about these various state and local government stimulus programs. Orange County, Florida has instituted its own stimulus program for $1,000, but applications are temporarily suspended because so many people applied for it, okay? And like I've said before, right, if there is a lot more state and local funding in the next relief bill and it passes, we could see some more programs like this. I wouldn't count on it, okay, but it is a possibility, all right? In terms of a second stimulus check, we haven't really heard very many news. I still see a lot of clickbait out there regarding $2,000 a month checks. I think that is a dead proposal. And the reason they're doing it is because, you know, these clickbait sites, right, who need ad revenue, they just ran stories on it last week, right, saying Kamala Harris and Andrew Yang are renewing their calls to it. Okay, just because Kamala Harris and Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders are renewing their calls for it doesn't really mean anything, okay? And I don't think it's a coincidence that those three individuals, Andrew Yang, Kamala Harris, and Bernie Sanders, are all very much in the public eye, and they like the publicity, and they were each presidential hopefuls during this past year, okay? So I've said before, I think it's kind of a publicity stunt. All right, you can believe that if you want to or not, but it's not happening. Okay, the $2,000 a month is not happening. I made a $100,000 bet last week that it's not happening. None of these stimulus clickbait YouTubers have taken me up on it. All right. Anyway, that is my update for today. I hope you all have a great week this week. I will definitely keep my eye on the Justice and Policing Act as well as the Senate Finance Committee hearing tomorrow. All right. See you later. Bye bye.